Could we, talk to Colonel Kurtz?
Hey, man, you don't talk to the colonel. Well, you listen to him. The man's enlarged my mind.
The point here is that we're getting a picture theory of language. That's what language does too. Language is something like a picture of reality. It's a map of reality, and there are certain features singled out by language. There's always much more complication in the actual object than can be represented in the drawing or in language. And so it's sort of like a partial model. That's why he says this is something like a model of reality. A model where all sorts of aspects of the real thing are being left out, but we're modeling certain aspects of it. Yeah?
Would it be a one-to-one function, or would it, because I was thinking that if you just draw a cat, you can make that as like a general kind of picture for all cats.
Ah, right. So yes, it's in general not going to be one-to-one. Mm-hmm. In fact, this inspires a sort of model of truth that you get in something like discourse representation theory, where this is understood as a homomorphic embedding. There's a homomorphism here, which allows for the fact that there isn't really an isomorphism, a one-to-one correspondence. You might say, this is isomorphic to certain features over there, certain things, but nevertheless, there might be many ways of mapping this into reality. So the cat that's arriving in my office at 2 is named Belle. But actually, insofar as I've drawn this, that could be a representation of pretty much any cat. Right? I mean, this is a very generic sort of cat image. And language is like that too. If I say, the students are in the room, or even better, there are students in the room, that's something that could represent many, many different possible states of affairs. And so it is something that actually maps onto this reality in a certain way, but it would map onto many different realities, and that's typical for language. Now, I have 1 minute to give you the big, yes, a logical picture of facts is a thought. So this is sort of a picture in a more obvious sense, but a thought is a picture of a fact, or a set of facts. Moreover, well, that's what a proposition is. It's really giving you that kind of picture. And he says a proposition has one and only one complete analysis. Sentences might be ambiguous. Propositions are never ambiguous. And now, let's go to 4. A thought is a proposition with a sense. So we have propositions and senses of propositions. That's what thoughts are, really. And then he gives you a structure of truth and falsehood and how that all works. But now I want to jump ahead past a lot of the logical technicalities of this to where this is all ultimately going. Most of the book is actually an elaboration of Proposition 4. But finally we get 5. A proposition is a truth function of elementary propositions. So we can break propositions down into a structure. And that's reflecting a structure in the underlying facts. But then we get to the final, you might say, conclusion of all this. Proposition 6 and 7. So 6, the general form of a truth function is blah, blah, blah. And what it really amounts to is something like a state of affairs and then a sign that tells you whether it exists or does not exist. That's the general form of a proposition. And that allows us to say certain things. But there are lots of things we can't say. There are lots of uses of language that aren't just depicting reality, even though that's what we do much of the time. And so, in the end, he says, what we cannot speak about, we must pass over in silence.
He's a poet, warrior in the classic sense. I mean, sometimes he'll say hello to him, right? And he'll just walk right by you, and he won't even notice you. And then suddenly he'll grab you, and he'll throw you in a corner, and he'll say, do you know that if is the middle word in life? If you can keep your head when all about you're losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you. I mean, I can't, I'm a little man. He's a great man. I should have been a pair of ragged claws scuttling across floors of silent seas. I mean...
Stay with the book.
Hey, don't go without me, okay? I want to get a picture.